Lockdown just began, and all these statewide mask mandates start to be implemented. You see a wide variety of face covering options, but you don't know which one to pick. Well, don't worry, because I'm about to tell you the 3 most common types of face covering options and their effectiveness at keeping out the virus. The first and most common type of face covering is the cloth mask. This mask is most commonly used because many of them are made at home and also they're reusable. Just one cycle through the washing machine and they're good to use again. Though it is the most common, it's probably least effective out of the other 2 types of face coverings I'll be telling you about today. The effectiveness of this mask is lower than that of medical masks and N95 respirators, but they still offer some sort of protection. The effectiveness of this mask depends on the design and material. Masks with multiple layers of material and higher thread count and finer weave offer greater protection than that of 1-layer cloth masks. Though masks that are constructed like this are still very effective, they still aren't effective enough to be mandated for medical use. Now, a mask that is mandated for medical use is the next facial covering I'll be telling you about today. This facial covering is the N95 respirator. This mask is much less common than a cloth mask because they are non-reusable. These masks were in very short supply at the beginning of the pandemic, but as of recently, you can find them and also purchase them at stores near you. Because these masks are much more effective than cloth masks discussed earlier, these masks are much more effective than the cloth masks discussed earlier because they can filter out both large and small particles. In fact, the N95 respirator can filter out 95% of particles inhaled, which is why it's been given the name N95. These N95 masks are made of synthetic plastic fibers that offer superior protection to that of a cloth mask, which can only filter out 60% of particles inhaled. Another facial covering that is often best paired with masks and not on their own is the face shield. The face shield is a large sheet of plastic with attached to a headband that covers the face and can block out 96% of particles initially after the cough. The problem with the face shield, though, is that it doesn't protect from lingering particles. This is why the face shield is best worn with a mask under it to protect from both lingering particles and also particles released initially after the cough. Though the face shield doesn't protect from lingering particles, it can still be effectively used on its own if the user maintains a safe distance, that of which lingering particles cannot reach and lingering particles cannot be inhaled. Face shields are fairly common and easily accessible. And the great thing about face shields is that they are all reusable. All you have to do is wipe them down with a disinfectant wipe and you're good to use again. Face shields are most commonly used in the healthcare field paired with N95 respirators to provide maximum protection of healthcare workers who come in contact with COVID-19 patients. Now that I've told you everything about these 3 facial coverings, you may still be asking yourself, which one should I choose? Well, when you stack up the pros and cons of each facial covering and discuss, the N95 respirator is a clear winner. Its 95% particle filtration rate beats out the cloth mask 60% particle filtration rate and the face shield's 0% lingering particle filtration rate by a landslide. It is much more effective at protecting the user from being infected with the virus than the other face coverings, and though it is non-reusable, it is readily available at stores for purchase. The other 2 face coverings are much cheaper options in the long run because they are all reusable. But the most important thing is its effectiveness at keeping out the virus and keeping the user safe, especially for those who are at high risk and may lose their lives from contracting COVID-19. The N95 may be more expensive, but you can't put a price on life. And if you want to be best protected from the virus as best as possible, then the N95 should be a purchase you should be willing to take. No matter how effective the mask, all these face coverings are all viable options, and it is of the utmost importance that we all wear our masks. The ultimate goal is to achieve herd immunity and defeat this virus, so we can return to life as normal before the pandemic.